welcome to my channel. Welcome to this week's WiPnChat. And I have Halloween out. It's that time of the month. Halloween is rapidly approaching, as is the end of the month. Let's see how I go with it. Pull down in this direction. Alright, cover reminder. I'm going to very gently guide my magnet behind the seams down, 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 down to pinch the corner. So it's pinched just there, and then I can move my tray in. Alright. My tea is keeping my coaster. Words. Sorry. I have had a coffee today, I promise. It's good and hot. Remind me to drink my tea. Alright, grab your tea, grab your work, whatever you are working on. Whether it's diamond painting or anything else. And, well, let's see if we can place some drills. I was going to say drop some drills, but that might be a bad thing. That might be, well, unless it's like saying to a dancer, break a leg, which is, you know, usually what you say before you go out on stage. Anyway, okay, it's going to be one of those kind of videos, folks, so buckle up. Alright, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please click subscribe. Please click the bell for the notification as to when I upload videos. The WiPnChats I normally try and do midweek, so Wednesday my time, but that's Tuesday evening, afternoon, evening, for guys over in the States or Ireland, UK. I have a stray hair stuck in my pen. And as always, please drop me a comment. I love your comments. And yeah, like, subscribe, whatever you need to do. Alright, I will try and work my way through both the thinking and the doing. Might not be successful, but we'll see how we go. Alright, news. Well, I didn't do a WiPnChat last week. I was meant to be on my retreat. I think I ended up releasing a vlog instead. I did a live vlog. That was a bit of fun. No one was really expecting it. Yeah. Yeah, apparently it was a surprise to hubby too. Yeah, it was just like, I was supposed to be on a retreat, and I probably would have done something on the retreat anyway. The retreat got cancelled because of a COVIDiot, as I've called him, who came to Tasmania, and instead of going into quarantine like he should have done, he decided to screw the system. And then it turned out that he was COVID positive, and he was out in the community for his, you know, conjugal shag or something. Or, yes, anyway, whatever the hell he was here for wasn't appreciated, because it put the state half into lockdown, as in the lower half of the state. It was actually like 2/3 of the state, it felt like, was in lockdown for 3 days over the weekend. It was supposed to have been a nice weekend as well. Up north for me, it wasn't going to be raining. Every weekend I have had off, it's bloody rained. It was pouring yesterday. It's actually quite nice today for a little bit. I can see blue sky and high, you know, feathery clouds and all of that kind of thing. But it's moody and, you know, everything is wet and all that kind of thing. Gee, you're gonna make... I said moody and wet. Yes, everything is wet outside. Anyway. So yeah, my retreat didn't happen. I didn't get to the sunny end of the state.
A better word to use along with moody would be damp.
Damp? Damp and wet? No, it's... You can see the...
Wet? No.
Can see the top of the mountain, sort of. It's in a bit of a cloud that's just kind of like stuck there. Now, I don't remember, if you recall on my last WiPnChat, it might have been actually the Create With Me, where I made the scissor fobs or bag fobs. Sorry, it's magnetized itself to my magnet. So I made these, And I was using the drill tray and I cracked it, and now I went to pull this one out of my tray. I've got 2 of these left and I cracked another one, so I've gone and placed another order for some new ones because there's no way I could go back to the little trays. So I've just gone on to AliExpress and ordered these. These are 16.5 by 8. So if you're looking for them, they describe them as big depending on where you go. These are from, so I've ordered these from Home Fun. I'm not sure where these originally came from, but they do deteriorate over time. It's that kind of plastic it is, and I'm sure hubby could tell me the name. But when they've been exposed to enough light and they've just been in a clear container storage, and they just go brittle over time. It's just the way of that plastic. It's UV affected, so I don't know, PVA, PVC, PV something. I don't know. No, PVA would be a glue. Right. All I know is I've got a cat litter box outside. It was sitting out in the sun and I kicked it the other, month or 2 ago, and the whole thing just shattered. It was like, whoa! Yeah. So it's whatever the sun does to that particular plastic, it just crumbles. Yeah. So it's one of those. So it's not going to last very long. Well, actually, I looked back from a memory. I think I've been diamond painting 3 years now. I have been doing videos, obviously less than that. I think I've been doing videos, I think I started in April 2018. I think Sophie was around. Well, she was definitely around when I started recording, because I started recording for storybooks for her. So yes, she was certainly to blame for that. Well, actually, hubby was to blame for that one. Yeah. So she's 3.5. Yeah, 3 years. Whoa. Now I am cross-stitching more than I am diamond painting, just because life changes and hobbies change, and I had a disc issue where I was having nerve pain, so stopped doing that as well. Yeah, so life changes, but friends were made and they're still there. And you guys just finished a retreat, which is all kinds of cool. I'm so jealous you had Randall Spangler at the retreat. Holy cow, my fave. So cool. So if you want to catch up on all the gossip from that, go and follow Leopard and Lace Boutique. Maybe Leopard and Lace Boutique 2000 is Tammy's Instagram, and she and Marissa organised the Lone Star retreat, and all the spoilers are on the Instagram page. Look so good. They got matching t-shirts and all of that kind of thing. Lots of friendships made, and yeah, just really cool. I don't think I'll ever get to a retreat here. We don't really seem to have that many down under. But okay, I said Aussies are different. There are certainly Aussies who diamond paint, Gracie being one of them. But the groups don't, I don't know, they don't seem to be as collaborative, maybe? I don't know. It's just a different breed of people. Hubby actually was trying to convince, well, not convince, sorry, convince is not the word. He was trying to explain to me why I may have had a clash with workmates, in that I'd sent an email out and it kind of fell on deaf ears, and then I'd sent another email out and it had no kind of response really, about supporting someone else, and he was, sorry? It did hurt my poor little feelings, because there's one person who doesn't like getting group emails, and he gets a bit of a bee in his precious little bonnet.
I don't like group emails either.
And he made some derogatory comment towards me when I asked him to keep it down, because people were doing Zoom chats and stuff, you know, in 3 different offices all at the same time. And I was trying to explain this the day after, just because, you know, wasn't dealing with it on the day. And he tried telling me about the tall poppy syndrome that we have in Australia, and I know he didn't mean to make me feel this, but I've been here 20 odd years. No, let me talk. And it made me feel like, oh, bloody hell, you know, just because I'm here 20 years, I still don't fit in. And that wasn't his intention, but I kind of felt, here we go. Because when I first arrived here, I had a school teacher tell me that I would likely never fit in here, and you know, I'd always be an outsider sort of comment. It was a derogatory, backhanded comment that I was never going to be a local kind of thing. And a year in, that really hurt my feelings. And I kind of went, well, you know what, screw you. And, you know, Tassie is home to me. And now having this comment made to me by hubby, who is born and bred Taswegian, you know, just kind of brought that comment back to the fore of me not fitting in. But the other problem is, and I've seen my sister deal with this, because she was Irish, living in Africa, and then coming back to Ireland. And I've spoken about this with Rachel, about culture shock, because she was traveling back to Virginia and there for a number of months. And she had going from international countries, then Ireland, then back to Virginia to look after her grandparents.
In my defence, it was more that you hadn't grown up with the whole thing.
Yes.
Than, it's not about you not knowing about it or not, but you haven't developed a personality with that requirement in your social interactions.
Okay. So he had mentioned this though, and I kind of thought, you know, ouch, that hurt. And no, I don't fit in, sort of, kind of, you know, and why should I? But look, I have another colleague who clashes heads all the time, because she thinks differently. She thinks a little bit like me, but she hasn't learned those nuances. But she's Australian. The other person who would have these issues would be a non-native born. She is Malaysian, or her family are in Malaysia. The other people in my office who would have similar issues are not Australian. You know, and they don't necessarily get the nuances. They've got that international background, and hubby's right in saying I haven't grown up with the cultural kind of thinking, be it small-minded or not, but that cultural thinking, and the knowing what you know innately. And this is probably going to go over your head if you've never left your hometown, because it's who you are, and you know your neighbors, you know how everyone works, and you know how everyone ticks. If you have left your hometown and gone to another town, you've had to fit in. Depending on the culture of the old place and the new place, you may have changed a little or a lot. And it was that kind of realization of some of these things are just not native to you. And it's trying to explain culture to people who have never seen that change or have never experienced a different culture. And it doesn't have to be a foreign culture. Foreign culture, I suppose, is a lot more obvious. But going from Ireland, white, to Australia, predominantly white, I can walk down a street and not look like a stranger. Although this was interesting because there was a movie we watched yesterday, Extraction, and I go onto IMDb and I look at the video blurb there, and one of the people who did a review was quite scathing of the fact that the people didn't look right. The people didn't look like they were from Bangladesh. The people looked like they were from 2 other different provinces or countries over towards that area. But the fact was they were able to pick that is not a Bangladeshi, that is a Punjabi, and you've got these subtle nuances. It's like maybe a white person trying to identify a black person, or vice versa, or Spanish, Mexican, and how me trying to identify a Chinese person out of a crowd of 12 might not be able to do it because, they look the same, because I'm not familiar with the different nuances and the different regional kind of things. But it's much more than that. It's a whole what's said and what's not said, and it's, I suppose, kind of like trying to explain a religion to somebody who's never been religious. You've got all these beliefs and ways that things are done, and like I'm Irish Catholic, and it's, I know what the little ringing of the bells might mean, and do I need it explained to me? No, but somebody who's not used to it wouldn't know what the ringing of the bells might mean. It's all these different little things, and I was never somebody to take things for granted, even as I grew up. I would challenge everything. I would ask why for everything. I must have driven my dad nuts, even though it's his fault because he's the engineer brain in my family. Because my son is the same, and he's the engineer brain in my family. He asked why for everything. It's just that curious, well, why is that why it is? And just because it's done that way, it still doesn't mean that we shouldn't question why it's done a particular way. So it's very hard to pin down exactly what culture is, and it's just an innate knowing. It's like somebody trying to explain army to somebody who's not army. It's where we see all these goofs in movies, because directors don't know why Navy might do things a particular way. There's goofs in NCIS, which I'm binge watching at the moment, and it's just because little things just don't come through on that cultural, okay, we're saturated in the media by military, and we've got veterans and stuff, so that might be a bit more familiar, but other things that are not quite as familiar don't quite get the they don't quite get the media broadcast, I suppose, like other things would. So, for instance, and I know this is a huge issue over in the States, you've got the chick who was killed, Grand Canyon. Ruby was doing some things on her recently, and it was assumed, rightly or wrongly, that her boyfriend did it because, you know, they're the obvious target. And there was outcry because she was a white chick, and this happens to black chicks. But where are the media releases? Where is the wide public outcry? Same goes for the Native Americans, who Michelle Bendy-Stitchie and Rachel have been doing a massive plug, and Jessie have been doing a massive plug to support the missing and Indigenous this missing Indigenous, there's a mixed term as well, you know, you hear about the missing white girl, but you don't hear about the marginalized. I suppose a little bit like the whole Selma movie that I watched as well, with the black people trying just to vote, and how Martin Luther had to, you know, put people at risk peacefully. And it was only when it was put in the media was there an outcry from people, not from color, from people. People had an outcry at the inhumanity towards humans. And that's what it takes media to do that. Look, it's the same. You're buying a car, you've never seen this particular car before, and then you're buying a car and suddenly you see it everywhere. Yeah. But anyway, culture is weird. Rachel, please don't take this the wrong way. I listen to James, and listening to his accent and his voice and it's just like, oh my goodness, I don't know. It's kind of like a warm hug in a weird way. I don't hear my family talk. It was really funny years and years ago. I was never somebody who would be the one to pick up the phone and ring people. I don't know why. I'm probably more of an introvert than I ever believed I ever was. Give me a book and I was happy as a teenager, kind of thing. Hated going to visit the cousins, but by the time the visit came to an end, it was like, oh, do we have to go? You know, kind of attitude. So got on the phone one year with our old friends who were godparents to one of the kids when they were little, and she's talking away and I'm thinking, oh my god, my ears like were bleeding almost. Her accent was just like, oh wow, is that what I've missed because I've been immersed in Tasmanian accents. Oh, I mentioned the other week, I think it was probably about a month ago actually, some dude was crossing the lights here and he just got chatting next to the guy who was beside him, and he was holding a book. He was going across to the hospital, and he had the most amazing Aussie accent. It was just like, you know, it was, I don't know, I can't explain it. It wasn't Tasmanian, and I was able to pick. Hubby can pick these things. He can pick the dialects between the different states, whereas I'm kind of going, it's just an Aussie accent.
That's because I've been everywhere. Well,
yeah, Marcus, he's been a few places. He has lived in New South Wales. He has lived in Melbourne, and I can hear accents and I can kind of go, oh yeah, that's a different area. But this guy's accent was just like, oh my goodness, it was country, it was cultured, it was country, it was just gorgeous. It was just not ochre, I don't know, I can't explain it. It was lovely. It was really, really nice just listening to him. You know, there's a few of those accents where you could just listen all day. I think somebody had once said that they could listen to Stephen Fry. Yes, it was Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry reading e-readers all day, audiobooks, those kind of things. They could listen to him, you know, forever and an hour. Kind of. Yeah. And sometimes culture does come out in books. I like my Irish authors, and sometimes it's in the stupid little things. It's in the not explaining about going to the pub, and then they say a phrase and you kind of go, oh. It just sets the whole scene for me. Other people must be left kind of going, what does that mean? You know, and it's just those little things that you kind of go, oh, I know exactly what you mean. That must get really lost in translations. And I get very picky with some of my Irish authors, because just because you've got an Irish sounding name doesn't necessarily mean you've grown up there. It's similar to crime writing, I guess. I much prefer reading, for instance, Patricia Cornell, because she is a forensic doctor herself. She knows these things. She uses them correctly. She uses the terminology correctly. And she doesn't dumb down the book, whereas other authors do. You know, or they purport that it's a true story. Dan Brown. Now, in saying Dan Brown, I actually like how he writes. Shoot me. Sue me, even. I always enjoyed how he writes, and I always enjoyed that there's little brain breaks that you can put the book down briefly, and you know, go and get the next cup of coffee, or you know, whatever it was. But the book just kind of galloped on, and it was like playing a movie in my head when I was reading his books. Yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. And I haven't seen a book from him for ages, but it got to the point where, like, I like paper books. I've got tons of them. Take less time now to actually read than I used to. But my very, very first ebook was because I needed to get the latest Dan Brown book into me. And it was Origins, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna hate this e-reader thing, and I devoured this book. And having it on the e-reader on Kindle was just like, oh my goodness. It was fantastic. So if you haven't read an ebook because you think you're gonna hate it, or you really enjoy paper book, the right books actually read really fast and really well on an e-reader. I haven't really got into audiobooks. I think that's because my brain starts going off on a tangent while the book is still happening, so therefore I'd miss bits of the book. That's just a me thing. So I'd be worried that I'd have to keep on skipping back, or I'd miss the book, or whatever it might be. So I haven't really got into audiobooks. I did watch, though, I think it was the whole thing. They had all these different actors reading Harry Potter, Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone, whatever you call it in the States. Book one of the series. And I have to say, some actors were way better than others. I didn't particularly like the chick who plays Luna reading it. There were a couple of other people that I didn't really enjoy. And then there was a couple of others that were just fantastic. And I was like, oh my goodness, that was just awesome. Now I know you can get books on the audiobooks where it's one actor reading the whole lot, but it was kind of cool. I think it was on the Wizarding page, which is the franchise website where you can go and you can pick your Patronus and pick your wand and all of that kind of thing, which was super handy for me when I was doing the letters from Hogwarts and wanted to pick my Patronus, my wand, my house. That was a great way of choosing those kind of things. So yeah, it was that. So yeah, things like that. Yeah, one of the other things that gets missed, like, I don't know, you can't talk boarding school with people who, well, you can, but they don't quite get the horror, I have to say, of it, unless you're talking with somebody else who's been through it. Which is why I've got my people I went to boarding school with share a Facebook kind of page, because we've all been through a shared experience, which was horrific for most of us. I think the day pupils didn't have it so bad because they got to escape, but the boarders were like, there was a question, Amber had a question on her Facebook, what was it that you got punished for at school for doing the right thing? I was like, in my case, it was putting the damn cows back in their field. And I was like, I got caned for putting the cows back in their field. Huh? And she's kind of going, huh? You know, yeah, that was the thing. I was like, oh, yeah. What? What did you say?
What's a cow?
What's a cow?
How many students these days would see cows?
Yes, well,
Next to the school or anywhere near a school?
I went back and I visited the school, which is actually a posh hotel now. That was a little bit freaky. And it was weird because it had been rearranged. I think the restaurant was where there were a couple of classrooms, but they've kept the flooring or they've kept something similar. Yeah, it was freaky. The outside was identical and the grounds were identical as when I was there. The nuns' graveyard was there with all, you know, the past nuns, including the sister who, you know, caned us. Yeah, I don't know, just different worlds. Anyway. So the retreat that I should have gone on last week, that has been rescheduled for January next year. I have booked my accommodation with a huge price difference. It's like, ouch. So yes, we'll get the savings started for that again. Oh, help. I have, yes. Yes, I spent my ill-gotten gains on Fabric by Misty. Because she was selling yards and half yards, and I need yards and half yards. Well, I only need half yards really, but my pandemic project is huge. My other projects that I've got on the go are all bigger than the Fat Quarters or whatever she sells as fabric of the month. So I needed to get extra large pieces. So yes, they are now my ill-gotten gains because I didn't get to go away. Yeah. Oh, did I mention to you? I may have mentioned this in the vlog. Hubby had said, oh yeah, we can get a Cocker Spaniel or other smallish dog. Went onto the pound page and
Well,
didn't find...
simplifying the conversation.
Yes, it is simplifying. Yes, it's simplifying the conversation. But either way, he had kind of said, yeah, we can get a second dog to keep Maka as company, or for company for him as he gets older in age. And I went on to some breeders' pages, and then I went on to a page called Gumtree. Gumtree is like the online marketplace for buying and selling. Pets are not supposed to be on these pages, but I went on anyway just to see.
By eBay.
Sorry?
Owned by eBay.
Owned by eBay, right. I don't care. Anyway, so went on and saw that there was a cavoodle, a Cavalier King Charles crossed with a poodle. Okay? Now, I know this whole debate is out there, but let me say it like this. A crossbreed, in the old days, used to be called a mongrel, a mutt. Okay? They used to be kind of free. Now there are designer dogs, which haven't been proven, started off with the Labradoodle, and that breeder who invented the Labradoodle has regretted his choice ever since. Anyway, so the cavoodle, Cavalier King Charles crossed with a poodle. So it's a non-shedding, medium-sized dog. Very, very cute. Has probably both the issues of a Cavalier King Charles and a poodle. One of them being that it's low allergenic, non-shedding, etc. $3,900 for a dog. And I did a bit of more sleuthing and searching and things like that. And for other breeds, proper full breeds of Cocker Spaniels, you're looking at $6,000 for a dog. And I know I spent a lot when I got my golden retrievers. They were both about $1,000, which was expensive. $6,000 for a dog. And the reason, apparently, why they are that expensive now is to stop these backyard breeders. I don't know how the hell that happens, because surely that just encourages people to be backyard breeders, undercut the real breeders just because somebody's desperate to get a dog, and then fleecing the customer anyway, because there's no proofing that these things are sound DNA, sound in their hips, sound in their eyes. Like a pedigree dog comes with a hip score and an eye score and lineage, all of that kind of thing. Stop. And there's no safeguards. Now, we actually allegedly have got a puppy farmer up north in Tasmania, because we've got a shelter chick down south from here who is quite vocal, and she has gone to this puppy farm, and she will be quite robust in her argument with this rather uncouth individual, and try and get the dogs free of his clutches and free of his breeding, and you know, rightly or wrongly, how she's gone about it. She's trying to free these dogs from life in a pen, being bred until, you know, they can't be bred anymore, and then you get these bullshit stories that it's, oh yes, it's a family dog, and all of this kind of thing that is spun in the pursuit of money. Yeah, so not going to be going down a puppy farm route either. You can't get cute dogs in the pound at the moment. They're all staffies and big buff head kind of things. I don't want another smooth haired big buffy dog either. And because of COVID, they've stopped visiting in general. You've got to book to visit. Sophie's already a bit timid when it comes to Mocha, like to the point where she'll freak out because he's coming up the stairs. So yes, we'll have to see. But I would love to have a spaniel. I'm not holding my breath on getting one, even though my spaniel was a pound puppy. Marcus just said we just have to go every single week. And eventually the right one will come in. That sounds okay in theory.
No.
Please don't do that.
No.
Time to dispense
Yeah?
the next.
I'm sorry.
Too noisy.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm stuck.
Can you stop? Oh. Here you go, Mummy.
Thank you, Sophie.
And I can help her now. I'm helping you.
Mhm.
And the cleverest.
The cleverest.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Sophie's the cleverest.
Mummy,
Uh-huh. Because she says so.
you're my assistant.
I'm your assistant.
Yeah.
Hmm. Not yet. Don't cross-tread them.
I know what you're doing though.
These are old drills. This kit is a year old. So there will be different finish on these than the new kits. And the new kits also have
Oh.
more colours than just the black in them. I can't wait to actually get my hands on some of the new ones. In fact, I may have some, because I have some of the newer Randall Spanglers. I do want to see those new drills and how they look. There are some really cool kits coming out on Diamond Art Club's page. Don't open those ones with the drills. Don't open them.
I'm not touching them.
Okay.
I closed them by my own. But you closed them.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna build my tower.
She got into my headphones during the week. And she pulled all the rubber bits off them. I wasn't impressed.
Yay. But I built a tower.
Oh, she wants to... Oh, you did. She's got them all stacked up on each other. Ooh,
Yeah.
What else is news? No real news.
Yay.
Plans are starting to happen for, I suppose, Christmas. We're kind of looking down the barrel of Christmas, even though we haven't got past Halloween yet. Oh, tell me this. How much do you pay for whole pumpkins over in the States? They've actually got whole pumpkins in our local supermarket at the moment. And I'm sure I sent a picture home to hubby saying $2.90 a kilo, and the other store is now selling them for $1.90 a kilo. So it works out at about $10 for a full pumpkin that you basically carve and waste. No, too noisy. Please stop.
I was using those.
You're making too much noise, Sophie, and I'm recording. So, yeah, what do you buy your pumpkins for? Thank you, Sophie. Please, no. And do you carve with them, or do you just eat them? Because my impression was that you take out the seed bits, but you keep all of the outside, unless you're gonna make pretty things, and oh my goodness, some amazing carvings happen. But you're still leaving the substance of the flesh there. Now, we're kind of into spring here, and last year we actually put hairspray on the inside of our pumpkins to try and preserve them, and they actually rotted faster than they ever did any other year. Excuse me. I need you to stop. Sophie.
Hello, Sophie. You've been very patient. Let's go and do these. Let's go and do the fruit.
So, how do you manage your pumpkin that you put out over Halloween? Like the days here would get up to 20 odd degrees, so 20 would be in the 70s, I think. So quite warm. Do you put them in the fridge overnight? Is the whole point, or during the day even? Do you just leave them out? Does it matter that they rot? How do you do it? What's the trick to preserving your pumpkin for the Halloween season? And I do notice some people are doing, was it trunk or treat this time, which is parking in a parking lot and the kids coming up to the trunks of cars. That's a really, really cool idea. It's a safe way for the kids to trick or treat, and everyone is, you know, close by, all of that kind of stuff. We haven't done any Halloween preparation this year. We haven't sourced lollies on the cheap or anything. Yeah. In Ireland, it was less about the lollies, except for me receiving as a kid. There was one family that used to do lollies, and it was like, oh, you have to go to that house. You know, that was the Halloween treat. Everyone else just did nuts, fruit and nuts. And they used to get like apple seconds, which were the ones that usually fell off the tree onto the ground that were picked up. And they weren't, you know, the best eating apples or anything. My dad actually used to take us to an apple orchard, and we'd pick our apples over at an old airfield. And that's what we used to do. So, yeah. Well, that was just one variety. He didn't actually make anything with those apples because I think they were eating apples. Whereas we used to fruit pick for everything else. We would go blackberry picking. He grew raspberries. He grew Logan berries. He grew black currants and not red currants. I think we had a white currant. We had one currant that was different. But in general, there were black currants. We had 2 gooseberry bushes because apparently Mum liked gooseberries, but he never had enough to grow anything or to jam those. Stop. We had the worst apples ever. I've told you about those. The best plums. We had Victoria plums. They were delicious. So sweet. So sweet. The wasps used to come and eat them. Okay, my lights have just failed. Okay. Alright, listen, I'm going to go because somebody's refusing to listen. And I'm going to end up losing it with her. I'm going to roll this and then I'm going to get going. So yeah. I hope you are all set for Halloween, that you keep your pets safe and everything else that you need to do, and your kids safe if your kids go trick-or-treating. And yeah, have a good Halloween. Hope you enjoy your week, and I want you to please stay safe, and I will see you around in the next video. As I say, if you click the subscribe and the little bell for your notifications, you'll see when I'm doing another video. and I will see you around on the tubes. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand.